Today's story begins with a woman who wanted to end her pregnancy but was prevented from doing so by state law. Her name was Norma McCorvey, but in court she was identified by the pseudonym Jane Roe. Courts sometimes allow people to use pseudonyms instead of their real names to protect their privacy in sensitive cases. In 1970, Roe challenged a Texas law that made it a crime to perform most abortions except when necessary to save the mother's life. She argued that the law violated her constitutional rights. The case was filed against Henry Wade, the Dallas County District Attorney responsible for enforcing the Texas law. That's why the case became known as Roe versus Wade. Welcome to Once Upon a Case, because the law isn't just for lawyers, it's for everyone. The question before the United States Supreme Court was whether the Constitution protects a woman's right to choose to have an abortion. On January 22, 1973, the Supreme Court ruled 7-2 in favor of Roe. The court held that the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment protects a constitutional right to privacy broad enough to include a woman's decision whether to terminate a pregnancy. At the same time, the court recognized that states also have important interests in protecting maternal health and potential life. To balance those interests, the court created what became known as the trimester framework, allowing states to regulate abortion differently as a pregnancy progressed. The decision immediately became one of the most significant and controversial rulings in American history. Supporters argued that it protected a woman's constitutional right to make personal medical decisions. Critics argued that the Constitution does not mention abortion and that the issue should be decided by elected lawmakers rather than the courts. For nearly 50 years, Roe v. Wade remained one of the most influential constitutional decisions in the United States. Although later modified by Planned Parenthood v. Casey in 1992, it remained the foundation of abortion rights until it was eventually overruled in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization in 2022. And that's the story of Roe v. Wade. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, watch this case next.